Welcome back to episode 2 on how to perform a fearless handstand, learn handstands in record time, and maintain handstands throughout the rest of your life. If you haven't already, start with our first episode on how to do a handstand. Covers all of the basics, things like how to warm up your wrists, how to make sure you're safely pushing through your arms, all of the basics. For today, we're going to go into a little bit more nuance of some of the things that I've learned over the last 10, 15 years of doing handstands that I wish I had learned a lot sooner. The core message is handstands are just like standing. It's such a new position that we actually don't think, what do I do in standing and how does that translate? When we're standing, our toes play a huge role in being upright. Actually, as an interesting and sort of unfortunate side note, if somebody doesn't have toes or has lost some of their toes, they have a lot harder time balancing than those of us with toes. And the same is true in handstands. But your toes, of course, are your fingers. Your fingers serve as a very subtle way of shifting your weight forward and backward. So when you press into your toes, you shift backwards. And when you pull with your toes in standing, you go forward. In handstands, when I press with my fingers into the ground, I lean backward. And when I pull with my fingers into the ground, I lean forward. The next similarity between standing upright and doing handstands is what I call the butt back maneuver. This is something we all learned as toddlers and do in our daily lives, but probably haven't put words to. And it's simply this. If you want to not fall forward, let's say you're on the edge of someplace high, looking over the edge, hopefully not too scared of heights, and not wanting to fall over, you will instinctively, automatically put your butt back. What this does is it shifts your center of gravity backward and keeps you safe, still on your feet, but much further back than you would be. In handstands, the butt back maneuver does the same thing. If you're about to fall forward, you can train yourself to bring your bottom backward, keep your center in the center, but not fall forward over your fingers in the handstand. With both the fingers and the butt back maneuver, these are exercises that you can practice and should practice first in standing. Practice exploring your weight moving forward and backward on your toes, and then take it into the handstand, maybe against a wall, and practice moving the weight forward and backward with your fingers. With the butt back maneuver, practice in standing. Notice that you all the time throughout your daily life bring your pelvis to the rear as a way to organize your weight in space, stepping off of a curb, whatever it is that you're stepping on a bug, whatever it is that you're doing, it's a very common habit. And in handstands, it's a trainable habit. So you're in a handstand, you're shifting your weight backward to find that stabilizing hold in the handstand. Another way in which handstands and standing upright are very similar are having power through our lower limbs. And we do this all day, every day. When we stand, most of us stand pretty upright. Your knees don't have to be locked, but they are straight. And this requires much less effort than if you're walking through your daily life with your knees really bent or in a deep squat. And yet in handstands, because we're not used to holding our weight on our hands, we will often do handstands with the elbows bent. It's less safe, as I said in episode 1, and if you need some more points on safety, go watch that episode. But it's also just less efficient. And in the same way, in standing, that you keep your knees straight, in handstands, you need to practice keeping your elbows straight. Another way in which handstands and standing upright have a lot in common is the use of the belly and the back. As an aside, I disagree with the industry standard, the fitness standard of always keep your abs tight. Your abdomen is a series of muscles just like your bicep and tricep. The bicep can't work unless the tricep is released. And the tricep has to pull, which means the bicep releases. The belly and the back work in the same way. You can contract the belly or contract the back, but you can't do both at the same time, and trying to do both at the same time results in a lot of pain. But in the same way that we will, throughout our daily lives, use our back muscles, use our belly muscles, In handstands, you can use your back muscles, use your belly muscles as a way to stabilize yourself. And most importantly, it's needful to aware what you're doing. When we take our normal positions in standing and flip them upside down, all of our proprioception goes haywire. We're not used to our bodies in this position. And so the way to combat this in any of these exercises is to practice awareing the use of your toes, the length of your arms, the shape of your belly and your back in standing, maybe even with eyes closed, and then apply it to a handstand position that's right for you, maybe with a partner or up against a wall. For just a couple of seconds, aware, where are your ribs? What's your belly doing? Is it out? Is it held tight? How pushed through are you with your hands and your elbows and your shoulders? And as you practice each of these exercises, see if you can translate from standing into handstands. At the intermediate level, there's 3 different types of handstands that I would set for you as objectives for yourself. And they are a static hold, a tuck handstand, and a straddle handstand. And I'll demonstrate each of them. With each of these different types of handstands, the static hold, the tuck, and the straddle, aim for 3 reps of 30 to 60 seconds per practice interval. So for me, on a given day, now I'm working on 5 and 7 reps, but for you, I would recommend starting at 3. Do 3 sets of 30 to 60 seconds static holds or straddle holds on a given day. And set that as your exercise practice until you can do 60 seconds 80 to 100% of the time. Thanks for watching episode 2 of How to Do a Handstand. We're so excited you're here and excited to continue the path forward into more intermediate and advanced steps with handstands. And even if you're an intermediate handstand balancer, go back to episode 1 too and review some of the safety guidelines and some of the practices that I taught there.